So I am back today to focus on what we call a demi edit. And you could do your full face with just demi color with these demi edits. I'm also going to showcase how you could do the hybrid method, and that is with demi and with the 3D foundation. I'm going to do one side of my face with just the demi edit alone, and then the other side of my face with the 3D foundation, and then demi. Usually when I do the hybrid method, the demi is concentrated under the eyes and pinpoint imperfections on the cheeks or anywhere else. You know, you tend to have imperfections. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'll start on this side, and I am going to start with the under eyes. For me, that is always the main area of discoloration. My shade is 03 for under the eyes. Now, these demi edits are curated depending on your skin tone because there are quite a few shades available, and it's all customizable, these compacts. So depending on what your skin tone is, that is how we choose. It's generally about 6 shades for a demi edit. But you could also like add and subtract even, you know what I mean? But I know that they'll be coming out with actual sets of demi edits soon, but right now they're always going to be available individually too. So you'll be able to like reorder your color, you know, one that you use like a little bit more than another. But so right now, all I'm doing is, so you get your color, mine is 03 for under my eyes. And I literally just like tap in there, like just a couple times. And then I'll sweep very gently. I'm not actually like pressing onto my skin, but you can see that it looks like the discoloration under my eyes is just being erased. You could also flip over to the fluffy side, and this is to remove any excess and to sweep to make it an even thinner layer. Or you could even tap into the demi color with the fluffy side, and this is the 03, and just like very gently pounce that there. Oh my goodness, I have like fingerprints on my, oh, it looks horrible. Okay. I use this palette a lot, so of course I need to wipe the mirror. You can see like how lightly I put that on, but it's already like starting to brighten and cancel out the discoloration that I have on my upper lids. Now, generally you don't really want to see the demi color coming off on your skin, but if it does, it's okay. Some people are like, don't do that, it's gonna be too much. Because of this fluffy brush, you literally just sweep and it'll remove like any excess, and it's very like light layers, but you could tell the difference there now. And this is just with a couple of taps of that demi color, and it just looks like I have no makeup on at all. So this video is actually for one customer in particular at this time that is really interested in the demi edit, and I just wanted to show her what the difference is doing the actual hybrid or demi alone, because, or you might want to purchase, you know, both options, and you, depending on the day, use one or the other. Maybe you use demi most of the time. It really is customizable to like whatever you want to do. So one of the things for her actually is I recommended 03 for her skin tone, but it's out of stock right now, and I hope they usually tend to like restock quickly, but it's a very popular color. But another color that she has on hers is Y01. I have that in my palette as well. And I think even like for your under eyes, you'll be able to use this as well, the way that I just did the 03. And, you know, because of the, you know, purpley blue. Now, you could also use 01, which is the one right next to my 03 here. Now, that is also one of the edits, one of the colors that I suggested for your edit. It's a little bit brighter, and I'm actually going to show you what that looks like. What I do with this, you know, because like I said, you use all of these colors for different parts of your face. So I put the 03 directly on the dark circle, like right here. And then I like to go, like you see how like it's pretty bright. So I think maybe the Y01 would serve you best at this time, just to kind of do the sweeping right under the eyes. And then under the eye bag, you kind of go on your cheek mostly with this brightness. And then, so again, this is the 01. And then I'm going to come out here and just kind of sweep in this darkness here that I personally have around my eye, like the corner of my eye. Then take the other side and just very gently sweep, and you'll see that it just like melts and disperses. A little bit of brightness, just like that. Of course, this could apply to anybody that has demi, but it all is dependent on what your tones are, because these edits are curated for your skin tone. So now for the next thing for me, what I'm going to do is, like say for my cheeks, okay? If I want, you know, because I have like a couple of dots here. Let me see about this one here. Now, normally for me, I actually use either GY1 if it's super red. I'm going to have to do that here on my nose. But right here, I am going to use the YO1. Actually helps. Or straight yellow, which is also one of the ones that I suggested for you to have as well. This is Y1, and they're going to actually be phasing out the GY1, which is this one because it combined both of them together. This is G1 and Y1. So what's going to happen then is you'll just kind of go in between and be able to make GY1. But the nice thing about having them separate is the G1 is really good for like fiery red, like a hive or like a really new pimple. And the yellow is really good for purple. So I'm going to see actually, maybe I should do maybe I'll do the yellow on it because this looks like more purple to me. And again, with my bright brush, I'm going to very little tap right into that. You don't need much at all. Sometimes it helps for me to like puff out my cheek here. Let me see. Excuse me. Okay, so if you see it on your skin, just pounce. So not really blending to remove it. And then you could even go around, just feather light strokes. And you'll see it like disappears into the skin. And then that spot is gone. Now, I have acne scars, so I have texture, obviously, because it's like a pock mark, but the color where it was purple is not there anymore. So that's good. Let me see if I could do it on this side. It might be a little bit easier to see here because I think this one, maybe. Let's see. All right, so going back into that yellow. Kind of strange, like with the lighting, it may even be. Okay. And then pounce. And then if you see anything around that dot, because you only want to touch color to color. This is kind of like a thicker brush. There we go. And then just go around it, not on the point you want it to cancel. Yeah. So now that red dot is not there. I have other red dots around it, but yeah, this is the side that I'm going to do the 3D, but I just wanted to show just like pinpoint. Now, another brush would actually be much better for this. It's called the spot brush, and it's a lot thinner. And I actually have it in here. Let me see. Yep. It's this one right here. So if you could see the difference between these two, let me see if I could put it behind a background. Yeah. So you can see this one's a lot fluffier, and this one is a lot more of a pinpoint. So you could actually like pinpoint right on a pimple. And let me see if I have another one that I could showcase quickly. Any that are like super prominent today. Like, let me try this one here in this, because I could see it in my mirror. So again, here's the spot brush. I have a little tiny dot on there. And you could do this with other brushes too. We do have the spot brush, which is great because it has the fluffy side, so you could just like flip it over. But any super pinpoint brush here, sometimes people use artist brushes, like from Michaels or whatever, they're like really thin. And you're able to just like put this, let me see if you can see what I'm doing. Like right here. And then the other side, you just wisp it. I hope you guys could see it. My lighting is like kind of strange today. Another thing I will do is if I don't want to use, you know, sometimes this doesn't cut it, you know, the fluffy side, depending on what's going on, I will literally just remove any excess on the back of my hand and use the thin side to pounce and kind of disperse it. So let me see if that's going to work. Or even with the other side of your bright brush, because it's more concentrated. Little dome here. And then go around, just make sure you don't get extra, because you could actually like kind of make it like more of a halo effect. But as long as you remove it and just leave it like where it's supposed to stay on the color you want to cancel. So that looks to me like it's canceled now. I could see it in my mirror, but I'm really hoping that it's translating. So in my mirror, and I think here you can see that those, you know, 3 little dots are gone, and I don't have any makeup texture on the skin where you could see like, you know, like super dryness or like crepiness from water-based foundations and stuff that could crack, or powder, like when people are putting like a lot of powder in order to set the foundation. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to go back to the demi side. So this is what I was going to do, strictly demi. Now on my nose here, I am actually going to tackle this red. Now I do use the bright brush for this. Whenever you have something that's like a little bit larger of a side, you could use this and kind of sweep, which is really nice. And what you do for that is, I'm going to grab GY1 this time, you know, because I know that this is actually something new that I just got. It's like Hive or something. So anyway, so this is my GY1, and what I do is I'll put it on and just start to sweep. So the bright brush is really great for like a little bit of larger areas. So on your nose, actually, this particular customer that I'm talking about, because I just did the color match, more redness like around the nose and around here, like the nasolabial folds. So you could definitely take this, I would say GY1 is your color for this. And you just put a little bit on your brush, and then it's almost like you'll see the red looks like it's starting to erase. Like you're not putting product on. You don't see the product actually depositing on the skin. It's more like the discoloration is just getting erased because it's just getting canceled out. Also, Y01 could work for this as well. So this is more for like purpley. Maybe this would work more like in your nasolabial folds. You're going to play around with it, and you're going to see what color does what and how effective it is on your skin. I have heard from other artists that demi speaks to you. It does. If it's the wrong color, you'll end up seeing the color and it won't cancel out what you're trying to cancel out. So then you know that you have the wrong one, that you pinpointed the wrong color. So, and of course, contact me anytime if you have any questions, anything that you need troubleshooting on. I'm totally here. But anyway, so for me though, I always do Y01 like around my nose. Works really well. For you, it might be GY1. You know, so you'll see which one is better. But I tend to get like the threadness here, and I just kind of sweep it with this little tiny brush here. And it just completely cancels it out. Sometimes even on my nose in the wintertime, that starts to happen like right here. Another thing that you could do with the demi edits is tone the skin. Now, for this, you would need something like the wash brush, and on my color match form I do have like a chart with different brushes for the demi line and the 3D line, so you could see each one, like a picture of each one, what they do. This one is a wash brush, and this works like really well. There is also something called the shape brush, and this one is more, I mean, you could use this like to tone. This works really well even for foundation. People have used it for like 3D foundation, because like I said, these are all like multi-purpose. And it's got like this fluffier side at the end. The shape brush was intended for the demi colors that were sculpting colors, you know, so that was like the contours and stuff like that. So, or blush, you know, so you could do like very soft, light layers of blush, like with this, where it almost looks like a tint to the skin. It's not like sitting on top of the skin. It literally looks like it's your skin. So what I'm gonna do with the shape brush, I'll just do it with the shape brush. So my color, now, I'm trying to see, like, if I want to tone a little bit here, because I tend to kind of have like more of like a sallow like looking complexion, I could go into my R01 because it has like a little bit of the pinkish, you know, to counteract any yellow. But I could also do like, this is more for like blue or dull skin, and I feel like sometimes I have that too. So what you would do is you would lightly tap, and you could kind of mix them together too. So I'm just going to kind of go like through all these three, and these are like waxed base. That's another thing too. It's more waxy than the 3D foundation. Even though they are creamy, they're still a wax, because once they're on your skin and you put them on properly, you don't put them on too thick, and they're very thin like a veil, they'll stay put, you know, which is great. So here is what I have on my brush. So you see it's like it almost looks like it's dusted on, and then you lightly feather like that. So for you, I would think that the 03 would work on your skin, but of course it's back ordered. But when we get it, you could even try this with 01 and R01, because R01 is the one that I also suggested in your edit as well. So R01 is red orange 1, and red really means pink. So it's like a pinky orange, and that counteracts anything that is, you know, because red, green, you know, so green, anything muddy or mulchy looking, sunspots, melasma, stuff like that. And yeah, so like those muddy undertones, you know, that really counteracts very well for that. So that's the red, and the orange is like blue, so like kind of like dull skin, sometimes even redness that, you know, tends to make you look a little darker. So you can see it just really softened out my complexion, and that's all I did. I just did a couple of taps and that's it. And then you can put on your blush if you want, like very, very, very lightly. The you'll see in your color match form I have pictures and graphics of the other demi colors that traditionally a lot of people, like lighter skin people, could use as blush. They could be used as color correctors on people that have darker skin, but people that have lighter skin could use some of them for blush. And then you would use this brush and just do a couple taps and just kind of, you know, go around it. And I'm actually going to show you with one of my demi colors that I do have in here for that. Actually, I'm going to show you even the Sculpt because I have that as well. All right, so these are, some of these are cream shadows. These are demi. This is RV7. This is a blush, which actually concentrates. It's very comparable to Black Cherry, and except this is a demi, so it's a matte finish. And then this is NV+1 Neutral Violet. So violet counteracts the because it's purple. Violet, so counteracts like yellowish, greenish tinges. So I feel like when I have like kind of sallowness, this really, really helps. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I do with the demi. Let me see. Maybe I'll use this side of the shape brush, and I'll go into NV+1, and I'm going to go right here. So you see that it's like the most natural contour in the world. It's like, it almost looks like there's like nothing there. But it gave me a shadow, and it literally just wisps it. I really hope that they don't get rid of this one because they're phasing some things out. I feel like some people freaked out with the demi line because I keep saying over and over again, I feel like this is makeup artist makeup, and there's a learning curve. But once you get it, it's incredible, you know? So that's the thing that I'm really hoping that they would keep this, because I just think this is so amazing, especially for people that don't want like full on makeup. Okay, let's go to another demi. This is R5, and that means red 5. So this is perfect segue. Now, when we're talking about the numbers are actually the levels of pigment that is in the individual shade, like in the pan. And that corresponds to skin tones. Obviously, somebody with a darker skin tone needs something with more pigment in order to be able to cover a discoloration on their skin. It's not going to show up, or it'll look too bright. So the level 1s usually are for fair skin, and the 3s are like light to medium skin. Now, also has to do with the spots that you're covering. If there are more depth of color in those spots, like sunspots, sunspots, dark pimples from PIH, like I get, like the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, you know, you need something a little more richly pigment. It's got to pack more of a punch. These are great for brightening the 1s. And now this is my 03, so I have blue under my eyes, so that's what I use. And this here is, yeah, so this one is R03, this one. So this one actually is also in your edit, and this is for melasma spots or any like deeper sallowness. It's kind of like a yellowish green. And I'm going to show you what to do with that in just a sec. But my point to all of that was the numbers. Okay, so that is R03. Now, this one here is R5. So they do also have an R05, and it's got a little orange in it. This one is like pink because it's red, you know, so that's what they call it, red, and it translates into pink. 5 is the depth of color. So this is for someone that would have deeper skin tone that needed to cover a spot on their face, but they can't use R03. It would literally look like highlighter on their face. You know what I mean? It wouldn't cover anything. But somebody with fair skin could use it as a blush. So that's what I'm going to do. So this one's R5, and I'm going to take my shape brush and then just do like a couple of taps in here, and you'll see how it comes up. It literally looks like it dusts it on there, and because it's not creamy, and it is once you, like, if you were to dig your finger in there, obviously, but when you put it on the brush, it like just, it almost like it airbrushes it on there. And then here is the blush. So I am just going to tap, and it looks airbrushed. You could flip over to the other side and like just wisp things out if you want. And then it literally just looks like a flushed from within glow. You know, it doesn't look like you have any blush sitting on top of your skin. And that's it. So that would be like a makeup-free look. One last thing for brightening, which I also put in your color match, the on the markings that I had on there, there was like that swoosh, like pink. Grab the fluffy end of the spot brush or the bright brush. If, you know, if you get both, or if you get one, the fluffy end. And what you're going to do is the R01 that's in your edit is so beautiful for light skin tones to do this with. So the R01 is up here for me, and take a couple taps. And now you're going to go under, like where I had that 01, where that brightening was, like right on that trough, to kind of brighten that up and bring that forward. And then right underneath it here, I'm going to see if I can put it on to where you can see it a little bit, so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's some brightness, and you could even sweep here into the inner corner. And then feather, very light feathery strokes. And then you could even grab some 01, and that's the more like orange peachy color, and do the same thing, and then come out here. So pretty. Okay, and that's that. So that would be like if you only did Demi, you know, just with your Demi Edit. Now I'm going to do this other side, and I am going to show you what I do with the Demi and the 3D foundation. I also posted a video where I did my full face with the 3D brush, and I'm sending you that video as well. So depending on what brush you would choose, if you choose to also get some 3D as well as your Demi Edit, you use this one, because this one, you know, could do bronzer, like all the stuff, if you're only going to do one. If you're going to do two, I always recommend these two as a pair. So this, your whole entire face, and you got the smaller end that could do like the, you know, little pinpoint areas, even placing contour, what have you. Do your foundation with this side or this side. This is for blush. This is for bronzer. And I love putting bronzer on. This is my absolute favorite for bronzer because it's got that fluffy, flexible side. It really shears it out beautifully. Okay, so if I'm going to do the hybrid on this side, instead of starting with my 3D foundation on my under eyes, I'm actually going to do my cheeks and stuff, because I am going to do, when I do the hybrid, I do the hybrid as just for the under eyes, and then pinpoint any like acne scars. That's for me. Your is going to be like a different situation. Like if you had melasma, then you would target that like at the end, you know? So like I said, all customizable. But here I go. I'm going to go into my main shade, and I'm going to use the flat end. This is my favorite for foundation. And I always start here like around my cheeks, because this is where I have acne scars. Any trace elements, I just kind of like move and migrate them around, because I don't necessarily want anything like right on like my laugh line, but it'll go there because I'm smoothing, because this stuff is still pigmented. Now for me, I'm going to go into my contour, and you could use this brush for the contour. And it literally just makes like a line when you use this side. You could even use this side, you know, like you'll find what you like better. And so it's literally just on that portion of the brush. And then you just kind of place it where you want it to go. We start at the top of the ear, and then just kind of bring it down, and never extending past the eye, because it could drag your face down. You blend, and I like to keep it up high. So let me see if I could, and then flick it up this way too, so I'm not like getting it down too far onto my cheek, because that could really drag the face down as well. I got my color switch, so I don't think I really have too much makeup on there, but just in case, if I do. And so then that way I could just kind of go around and blend a little bit. I don't over blend my contour, because I do want it to stay with the other side. Could do that. And then I love to use this for contouring the jawline. And I did it earlier with my 3D brush, and I loved it, you know, because it does have the dome side. But with this, you know, this works really well. So tap into my contour and go under the jowl, right here in front of the ear. Okay. And then just tap with the other side. Remove any harsh lines. Now I'm going to brighten and color correct my under eyes, and then I'm going to do the bronzer, because I like to do, I've said it about a gajillion times, that I like to put my bronzer on after brightening, and it depends on you what you want. If you want like super bright under eyes, then you would do it after, you know, so that you see like more of a difference like with the brightness. But I like to do the bronzer on the sides of my temples. So bright brush is what I recommend for you. And just like we did on the other side, or, you know, like the spot brush, but the bright brush is really good for the under eyes, I feel like. So I'm going to do my color again. So this is, so you're going to do exactly what you did here. And with your colors, this is my other edit. That's my face edit. This is my like under eye edit. So my 03. So now let's go here. And then once I get a little bit on that brush, I'm like sweeping it. You can see it depositing the color. corner of my eye as well, right here, because I tend to have like really dark. Here. And that is literally it. There is zero texture. So this side also has the Demi, zero texture. And it feels really lightweight. I don't feel anything on my skin. Now on the top, you could either, you know, continue on with this. If you have like just a little bit of discoloration, you could use a smaller side. I use the fluffier side, so I'm going to go back into 03. And I'm just going to, you know, you'll see some of it here. Say, you know, you see the product, but then once you disperse it, it's going to thin out and veil over the whole area. I did the same thing over here too. All right, so this is with 3D foundation and the Demi, like just around the eyes, and it still looks like skin. And right now I only just have the contour on. Now I'm going to do the bronzer. So here's my favorite brush for the bronzer, which is the super fluffy side. And I'm going to dip into my concoction. And it's great because you could dip into all the pans and swirl it. And you really don't need to do that much because it does deposit like quite a bit, like that. Forehead on the temples. You'll see. And then what I really like about this is because of how fluffy it is, I'm also going to dump some down here because I don't want too much. And then this is great because this is what's going to tie in your neck. And keep my hair out of the way. All right, so then what I really like with this is sweeping. And it's so flexible. And then the same thing here on the temples. And then you're doing like that, you know, that 3 or E, depending on how you're looking at it, what your perspective is. And then once you come down here, then it's going to just warm up everything. Okay, so that's the bronze. And then this is that R5 blush, that very, very light stained blush look. And on this side though, you're gonna get a lip and cheek if you want, you know, from the 3D line, and put that on. Let me see, what do I wanna use? I'm gonna do Dahlia because this kind of reminds me of that R5. And I feel like it packs more of a punch because this literally looks like a stain. So what I'm going to do is, let me see, I'm going to put it on with my finger so I could get like a little bit more controlled because it's really pigmented. So let's see, let me do a couple. I hope it's not too much. All right, so now I am going to I'll grab my shape brush because that's what I had used for the R5. So you could even do this, you could use these Demi brushes with the 3D. So if you could see the difference, this looks a little bit more like it packs a punch, and then this literally looks like it's almost like it's like part of my cheek. Interesting. So yeah, so that's a 3D blush, and this is a matte blush, and this is called Dahlia. So pretty. As for Illuminator, I always put it on with my finger. But you could put it on with a brush. You'll see what you like. Some people like to do it with the damp beauty blender. You're going to figure all of this out as you play with it, which is what I really love. So on here, I'm going to put this. Now on this side where the Demi is, you could just leave it just like this. You could even use, just like what I did here with that R01 and that 01 out here, you could actually put a little bit more R01 directly on the cheekbone, and that'll give you a highlighted, almost like a matte highlighted effect. So let me see if it shows up on camera. So again, we're going back into that R01, and I'm just going to kind of go right up here. So if you could see how it's just a little bit of a pinky highlight, but it's not shiny, you know, so, but it's still dewy, which is, you know, what I'm always blown away by, because you still get such a beautiful sheen from the Demi, which is why I love it so much. And so yeah, so this will be just with Demi, color correction, very, very pinpointed, strategic placement. So it looks like you have like no makeup on. And then this, a little bit more makeup-y, but you know, sometimes I like that. Did you hear my cat? He totally jumped up here. Now he's gonna mess probably with the camera, I hope not. Okay, so, oh, baby. Oh my goodness, okay. All right, now. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. So that's like the highlighting portion. Okay, and that is it. So, like I said, this is geared toward new customers and especially the ones that are curious about the Demi edits on their own and as a hybrid with a 3D foundation. But of course, anybody could follow along at any time. I hope I don't look like too weird because you can see that there's a difference between I mean, I guess it's actually a nice thing. So you could actually see what it looks like. This is definitely more of a natural like finish where it looks like you're not really wearing any makeup. And then this has a little bit more of a little bit more color, like punch of color, but still dewy and still just very, very supple looking. What I'm always impressed by is the under eyes because, like I said before, that has always been my area of concern. And as you can see, I do have a lot to cover. There's a lot of discoloration and, oh God. But with this Demi, it looks like skin. It feels like skin. And it just looks like, oh, it just looks amazing. So all the products are listed below, just like always. My link tree is down there as well. And that is where you can get a color match. My link tree will pull up the link tree and all the tabs will be there. The first one is the direct shopping link for Seint makeup. And then the second one where it says get a color match, obviously, is my questionnaire. And that is where I'm going to find out things about your skin and what your concerns are, what you want out of your makeup, what it is that you would like to color correct and whatnot. And you submit a makeup-free selfie in front of natural light window so I can see your undertones and pick your specific colors. And also like and subscribe and comment any questions that you'd like. Even on my link tree, I actually just put a direct email link. So I didn't know that I could do that before, and then I saw it, I was like, oh, this is great. So if someone wants to ask me a question, you don't necessarily have to make it all public in the comment section. You could literally just email me directly. So as always, have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will see you again next time.